There is a specific point on the sole of your foot capable of stopping the leak at the base effortlessly. The persistent exhaustion that drains your strength escapes through the hips, through an opening that stays active because you never awakened the mechanism that closes it. That seal is under your feet, waiting for a precise touch. With each day without this knowledge, energy keeps flowing out while the containment valve remains dormant, ignored. You are now going to discover how to locate this point on the sole of your foot and activate it with the exact pressure to feel the base finally holding what has always slipped away. If you leave now, you will miss the gesture that turns drainage into retention. What ancient traditions knew is that ignoring this point keeps the leak open indefinitely. Do not step on the cure. It is literally under your feet. The sole of your foot is not just mechanical support. It works as a sensor that informs the nervous system whether it is safe to retain energy or if it is necessary to keep it in a state of continuous escape. When this sensor remains dormant, the body interprets the base as unstable and activates a silent survival alert that drains vitality through the hips without you realizing it. At every moment, the sole of the foot is deciding whether you retain or disperse what you produce. In ancient Chinese medicine, this point was known as Yongquan, the bubbling spring where heavenly energy descends and takes root in the body or escapes back into the earth when the seal is broken. Hermetic alchemists knew that closing the vessel at the base was the first gesture before any internal transmutation. They treated the sole of the foot as the vibrational foundation of the temple, the place where containment begins or where everything is lost. The mechanism is precise. Dense nerve endings in the front region of the sole connect directly to the vagus nerve, creating a pathway between contact with the ground and regulation of the autonomic nervous system. When this point is compressed or dormant, the body reads instability as threat and keeps the leak active. The base does not close because the safety signal was never sent. Energy flows out because the nervous system is still waiting for confirmation that it can contain. Research in fascial anatomy reveals that the plantar fascia connects to the posterior chain of the body up to the base of the skull. Awakening the point on the sole reorganizes postural distribution from the bottom up, adjusting how weight is received and redistributed. Neuroscience shows that the reading of safety does not begin in the brain, but in the points of contact with the ground. What you feel as persistent fatigue is the body maintaining a state of alert that began at the base and was never deactivated. This leak explains why you find it hard to sustain projects, why your decisions waver, why your presence fades in the middle of important conversations. The energy that should circulate and nourish is escaping through the hips because the valve on the sole of the foot was never activated. There is someone who lived exactly this, who carried this leak for years without knowing that the solution was under their own feet. And that person's story will illuminate how transformation happens when the seal finally awakens. Sharon was 62 years old and spent her days taking care of the house, preparing meals and organizing the family routine. About a decade earlier, she began to notice a fatigue that did not improve with rest. Her legs became heavy early in the morning, her ankles hurt for no apparent reason, and there was a persistent sense that her body was collapsing inward. She woke up tired and ended the day exhausted, as if something were continuously draining her strength. Sharon tried physical therapy for the ankle pain, but the exercises never solved the problem in a lasting way. She tried supplements to boost her energy, did generic stretches recommended by online videos, and even spent a few months in therapy trying to understand whether the exhaustion was emotional. Nothing worked because everything treated isolated symptoms without touching the mechanism that kept the leak active. The body kept losing strength at the base, and she did not know it. During a conversation with a friend who practiced acupuncture, Sharon heard for the first time about a specific point on the sole of the foot that Eastern traditions considered essential for retaining energy. The friend mentioned that this point was linked to what they called the bubbling spring, and that, when dormant, it allowed vitality to flow back into the earth. That sounded strange at first, but the description was so precise that Sharon felt that someone was finally naming what she had been experiencing for years. That same night, Sharon sat on the edge of the bed, took off her socks, and began to palpate the sole of her right foot, looking for the region her friend had described. When she found the point between the forefoot bones, she pressed it with her thumb and held the pressure for a few seconds. Something changed immediately. There was a feeling of grounding that she had never experienced before, as if the weight of her body were finally landing in a different way. Her breath dropped deeper, her ankles relaxed slightly, and, for the first time in years, she felt that the base was containing something instead of letting it escape. Sharon pressed the same point on her left foot and noticed the same response. The body was reacting in a way that none of the previous attempts had provoked. She stayed there, repeating the gesture for a few minutes, feeling the transformation beginning to settle in. What Sharon discovered that night is the same gesture you are going to experience now. You are going to locate the specific point on the sole of your foot that stops the leak at the base. Sit comfortably, take off your shoes, and bring your right foot onto your left thigh. Use your fingers to map the sole, first finding the line that divides the sole into thirds. The region you are looking for is in the front portion, between the second and third toes, slightly above the center of the foot. When you find this area, press with the tip of your thumb or with two fingers together. The region may be tense, slightly sore, or curiously numb. This is normal. Direct the pressure not only downward, but slightly upward, as if you wanted to wake something sleeping beneath the surface. Keep firm pressure for 30 to 60 seconds while breathing shortly through the nose. Inhale, counting to 3. Exhale, counting to 4. While maintaining the pressure, observe what happens in the body. Warmth may arise, rising from the point through the ankle, a sensation of weight redistributing through the leg or the foot that was tense beginning to land differently. The breath may drop more easily into the lower belly. These are the first responses of the nervous system recognizing that the base is being sealed. Keep breathing and maintaining constant pressure. Now release the right foot and repeat the same process on the left foot. Locate the point in the front region of the sole. Press firmly, directing slightly upward, and hold for 30 to 60 seconds. Breathe the same way. 3 counts on the inhale, 4 on the exhale. Notice the same sensations arising. Warmth, redistribution of weight, relaxation of the ankle. The body is learning that the valve can be closed. When you finish with the left foot, stand up and notice the difference in how the weight is received. Is there greater stability? Less need to clench your toes to feel safe? Does your posture adjust itself subtly on its own? These changes indicate that the point has been activated and that the base is beginning to retain energy, instead of letting it escape. Now, still standing, press the point on the sole of your right foot with your fingers while breathing consciously. Imagine that the inhale descends all the way to the point being pressed and that the exhale seals the energetic containment there. Do this for 3 full breaths. Repeat on the left foot. This integration between touch, breath, and intention transforms the mechanical gesture into a ritual of vibrational closure. Before moving on to the next layer of the practice, there is something essential you need to know about what happened with Sharon when she continued activating this point over the following weeks. Sharon began activating the point on the soles of her feet every morning upon waking, before putting on her shoes, and whenever she felt the old fatigue beginning to rise through her legs. In the first weeks, the ankle pain that had accompanied her for years began to disappear. Sleep became more restorative, not because of the number of hours, but because of the quality of nervous regulation that took place during the night. The base was finally closing. Fatigue ceased to be a permanent state and became an appropriate response to real effort. Sharon realized that she could maintain presence in conversations without feeling her body pulling her. Attention downward through discomfort. Home projects she started and abandoned for lack of energy now had a natural continuity. Decisions that previously wavered now held more steadily because the body was no longer leaking the strength needed to sustain them. Sharon described the transformation as finally having inner ground. What Sharon felt over weeks, you were beginning to notice now, in this moment, in your own body. The next practice will deepen this seal and transform the isolated gesture into a containment system that operates continuously throughout the day. The second layer of the practice turns automatic walking into a ritual of continuous sealing. As you step, allow the weight to arrive first in the front region of the sole, exactly where the point you just activated is located. Pause for a few milliseconds before completing the step and feel the point awakening with each contact with the ground. This keeps the valve active as you move. During this conscious walk, observe the sensations that arise. The feet seem to grip the ground better, the ankles become more stable, and the energy does not escape with each step. It is retained and redistributed upward. The body begins to perceive the ground as an ally, not as a neutral surface. Each step becomes confirmation that the base is sealed and that containment is active. The manual activation you practiced taught the body where the point is. Conscious walking keeps the seal active throughout the day. Together, these two practices create an energetic containment system that operates both in moments of stillness and in movement. The leak that used to be constant can now be interrupted whenever you choose to activate the mechanism. The central practice has been completed. You now possess the somatic map and the ritual that closes the leak at the base. The next step is to seal this transformation in a way that it can be reactivated whenever necessary. Notice what has changed in your body. The breath drops into the lower belly effortlessly. The weight is more evenly distributed between both feet and the ankles are no longer tense. There is a feeling that the body lands on the ground differently, with greater inner confidence. These signs prove that the valve has been activated and that the base has stopped leaking. To keep this seal active over the days, lightly press the point on the sole of the foot, even through your shoe or sock, while breathing 3 times in a short nasal way. Internally visualize that the base is sealed and that the energy remains contained. This gesture takes 30 to 60 seconds and can be done anywhere, discreetly and immediately. When you feel the old fatigue rising through your legs, or notice that you are losing presence and strength for no apparent reason, pause. Take off your shoes if possible. Press the point for 60 seconds and repeat inwardly. The base is sealed. The energy remains. This instruction turns what you have learned into a long-term tool, not just a momentary experience. You now carry in your body the knowledge that stops the leak whenever necessary. What remains is to understand the larger implication of what you have just lived. The discovery you have just made goes beyond technique. Energetic leakage has precise geography, and the cure was not far away, but literally under your feet. What transforms when you realize that each step can be a vibrational choice, that the base of the temple is not just physical structure, but a portal of containment that decides whether you retain or disperse what you produce. The valve was there all along, waiting for the touch that would awaken it. The point on the sole of the foot is only one of the seals of the temple body. There are other portals of energetic containment and retention waiting to be awakened in the sacrum, in the jaw, in the diaphragm, in the plexus. The inner temple channel exists to map these forgotten somatic and vibrational territories, revealing knowledge that ancestral traditions preserved and that modern neuroscience is rediscovering. There is more to access, more layers to open, more seals to awaken. Hermes Trismegistus wrote that that which is below supports that which is above. Transmutation does not begin at the top, but at the foundation. Awakening the base is honoring the sacred temple you inhabit, recognizing that the body was designed with infinite wisdom by the source. Each sealing point is an invitation for you to learn to contain and circulate what was given to you, transforming leakage into conscious retention. If this content resonated with you, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to keep mapping other seals and practices. Share it with people you recognize are leaking energy at the base and do not know that the valve is on the sole of the foot. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Your contribution makes it possible to produce more content with this depth and reach more people who seek these ancestral practices. Write in the comments, "I awaken the point on the sole of my foot and stop the leak at the base effortlessly." This affirmation anchors the practice in the body and creates a written testimony of the transformation you have lived. There are entire territories waiting in your body. Click on the video that is appearing on the screen now to discover what else is dormant. The valve that stops the leak has always been where you paid the least attention. Not at the top of the head, not at the center of the chest, but under the soles of the feet, at the place closest to the earth, where the temple finally finds its foundation.